In this lesson, we'll briefly discuss what kind of application Adobe Illustrator really is. Alright, now to say that Adobe Illustrator is an application only used to create and manipulate vector graphics is, while it's true, it's really unfair because it's not giving Illustrator its due credit. So really there are a large number of different types of creative professionals who use Illustrator for a multitude of different reasons. Some examples of these might be a print designer who uses Illustrator to design things like logos, stationery packages, or even posters. You have web designers who may use Illustrator to mock up a website, or you have other creative professionals who could use Illustrator to design interfaces or animations for things like cellular phones. So really there are a lot of different places you can end up when working with Illustrator and a lot of different reasons for working in Illustrator. So really probably an important place to start is to understand the difference between pixels and vectors. Now remember, Illustrator is a vector-based graphics program, meaning that we create and manipulate vectors. Now, pixels, let's go ahead and begin there. Let's zoom in on these two examples. Pixel-based artwork is often referred to as bitmap or raster-based, and programs like Photoshop might create this type of artwork. With pixel-based artwork, images are created by either creating, manipulating, moving around these things called pixels. When all these pixels are combined, they work together to create an image. Now, the downside to working with pixel-based artwork is it's resolution dependent, meaning it can only be sized up to the size specified when the artwork was created. If we blow it up any further than that, it's actually going to begin to get pixelated, and we're going to be able to see the individual pixels that make up that image. Let me just go ahead and show you an example here. I'll just go ahead and grab this pixel-based piece of artwork here in front of us, and let's just go ahead and stretch that out. I'm going to go ahead and just enlarge that here in Illustrator, and let's just zoom in on it some. As we get really close, you can see the individual pixels, or these little squares that make up this artwork. Now, it appears to have sort of a jagged edge to it. Now, that's hardly going to work for this piece of artwork if it's going to go on something as large as maybe a banner that's hanging off a building, something like that. No, we actually would be better off using a vector-based graphics program to create that. Now, let me just go ahead and undo that here, and let's go ahead and move over and talk a little bit about vector-based artwork. Now, the key benefits to vector-based artwork is that, one, our artwork is always going to be editable. We can always come in and actually make changes to our artwork. But really, the biggest benefit to vector-based artwork is that our artwork is scalable to any size. We can take artwork that was designed in an area, say for example, as small as 1 inch by 1 inch, and we can blow that up as big as we want to, even as big as placing it on a banner on a building. And that artwork is not going to lose any amount of detail. Now, I have here a vector piece of artwork here in front of us. Let's go ahead and just select that here. And I'm going to go ahead and enlarge that and show you the example. Similar example to what we just looked at with the pixels. Now, let's go ahead and just zoom in on this artwork and see if we get any sort of loss in quality. And you can see here I've zoomed in very close, and we can zoom in as close as we want. We're not going to degrade the quality of this image at all. It's because it is using vectors and not pixels. Now, vector-based artwork uses a series of mathematical equations to create the artwork. So that's the reason why we can scale it to literally any size. So now that we're familiar with the difference between pixels and vectors, let's go ahead and talk about the next 3 lessons. I think the best way to get you used to Illustrator is to just go ahead and create something in Adobe Illustrator. So in the next 3 lessons, I'll be focusing on creating our first vector project. Now, try and keep up if you can. If you want to rewind and watch those lessons again, feel free. If I go too fast for you, don't be discouraged. We're going to slow down after we're finished building that first object and start from the very basics. So in the next lesson, we'll begin building our first vector illustration.